My name is Clara. It's been 5 years since the accident. 5 years since our daughter Lily was taken from us. My husband Michael and I tried to move on, but the silence of our old home was unbearable. So, we bought a new house, an old, isolated Victorian on the outskirts of town. It was dusty, with creaky floors and a musty smell, but it felt like a fresh start. On the very first night, as I unpacked boxes in the living room, I heard it. A faint, almost imperceptible sound coming from somewhere upstairs. A soft, melancholic humming. I dismissed it as the old house settling, but the humming returned every night, just after midnight. It wasn't a random tune. It was a fragment of a lullaby that Sarah used to sing to Lily. "Sleep, my sweet one. Close your eyes." I'd hummed it myself countless times. It would last for a few minutes, then fade into the silence. Michael never heard it. He thought I was just grieving, hearing things in my sleep. But I knew it was real, a haunting echo of our loss. The humming intensified. It seemed to be coming from the attic. One morning, I found a small wooden music box on Lily's old dresser. It was a toy we had given her, but it had broken years ago and never played music again. Now, it was open, and the tiny metal cylinder inside was spinning slowly, silently. I picked it up. As I held it, a faint metallic melody started. The exact lullaby I had been hearing. The music box, broken for years, was now playing Lily's song. I was terrified, yet drawn. That night, I decided to go into the attic. Michael was asleep. The attic door was a small, dusty hatch in the ceiling of the upstairs hallway. I pulled down the cord, and the old wooden ladder creaked open. A wave of cold, stale air, heavy with the scent of old wood and something subtly sweet, washed over me. The humming was distinct now, louder, almost urging me up. I climbed into the attic. It was a vast, dark space, filled with forgotten furniture and cobwebs. In the very center, bathed in a single shaft of moonlight, coming from a small vent, was an empty wooden cradle. It was old, intricately carved, and looked like it belonged to another era. Next to it, on the dusty floor, was a small, worn baby blanket, Lily's favorite, the one she always slept with. The humming stopped. I picked up the blanket. It felt warm, impossibly so. And then I heard a child's voice, soft and clear, from directly behind me. "Mama, did you forget me?" I spun around. Nothing. But the voice was so real, so full of Lily's innocent question. The crushing weight of my guilt, the feeling that I had forgotten her in my attempts to move on, became unbearable. The house wasn't just haunting me, it was feeding on my grief. I stumbled back down the ladder, heart pounding. I woke Michael, shaking him. I told him everything: the humming, the music box, the blanket, the voice. He looked at me with profound concern. "Clara, please. It's the grief. This house is old. There's nothing here." He hugged me tightly, but his eyes conveyed pity, not belief. His inability to see or hear what I did felt like a further isolation, a confirmation that I was losing my mind, or worse, that I was truly alone in this torment. The next night, I was sitting alone in the living room, unable to sleep. The humming started again, louder now, almost echoing through the house. It was a full lullaby, not just fragments. I looked up. At the top of the main staircase, framed by the dark, empty hallway, was a small, shadowy figure. It was indistinct, but it had the unmistakable outline of a small child, swaying gently from side to side. It was Lily, or something that wanted me to believe it was Lily. I wasn't scared anymore. I was resolute. I wanted to hold her. I started to walk towards the staircase. "Lily?" I whispered, my voice thick with tears. The figure stopped swaying. The humming stopped. And then, from the top of the stairs, the child's voice, clear and heartbreaking, asked, "Mama, why did you let me go?" The question wasn't about forgetting. It was about the accident. It was a direct accusation, cutting through my soul. I collapsed. The shame and guilt overwhelmed me. Michael found me there an hour later. He finally realized something was truly wrong. We called a local paranormal investigator, an older woman named Dr. Evelyn Reed. She came the next day, her equipment humming. She focused on the attic. She found a hidden compartment in the wall of the old cradle, a small, sealed wooden box. Inside, there were 3 rusted, tiny baby teeth and a faded birth certificate for a child named Eleanor, born in this house in 1923, who died tragically at age 4. Dr. Reed explained. This house held the echo of Eleanor, a child who had died tragically, likely alone, decades ago. Her spirit was bound to the house, replaying her sorrow. The lullaby, the music box, the blanket. These were her memories, her cries for comfort. But something had changed. Lily's accidental death, my grief, my guilt, it had all created an open wound, a spiritual resonance that allowed Eleanor's grief to mimic Lily's. It was a dark mirror, reflecting our own pain. Dr. Reed wanted to cleanse the house, to sever the connection, but I couldn't. I couldn't bear to lose Lily's echo, even if it was tinged with Eleanor's sorrow. That night, I went to the attic alone. The air was cold, but the humming was strong. I sat beside the cradle, holding Lily's blanket. "Eleanor," I whispered, "I know you're here. I know you're sad, but I'm sad too, and I miss my Lily." I began to sing, not Lily's lullaby, but a different one, a simple, gentle tune that my own grandmother used to sing. I sang it for Eleanor, and I sang it for Lily, and I sang it for myself. As I sang, the humming from the attic shifted. It became softer, less melancholic, and for the first time, it sounded like it was harmonizing with my own voice. And the cold air in the attic warmed slightly. I felt a faint, gentle pressure on my hand, like a small, loving touch. From that day on, the haunting changed. The humming was still there, but it was no longer accusatory or melancholic. It was soft, peaceful, a gentle echo. Sometimes I'd find Lily's old music box playing silently in her room, or her blanket neatly folded on her bed. These weren't scares. They were gestures of presence, of comfort. Eleanor wasn't trying to scare us. She was simply lonely, and my grief had inadvertently awakened her. Michael still doesn't hear the lullabies, but he sees the peace it has brought me. The house is no longer a source of fear, but a shared space of quiet remembrance. We learn to live with Eleanor's gentle presence, understanding that some griefs never truly leave, but they can find a quiet harmony. The lullaby in the attic became a reminder that sometimes the most profound horrors aren't about being haunted by evil, but about being haunted by unresolved sorrow, seeking solace in shared loss.